Hey guys, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here, hello.
Mick, what I thought we'd do today is have a look at some of the high-end compressors that have recently come onto the market.
Nice, back to compression.
Yeah, well, so we did that thing on compression originally, and it was great, so the Compression 101, and...
we'll include a link to that below in the description. There's Compressors 101 video we did ages ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If you want to know more about exactly what compression is and how it works, check this one out. But for today, we have 6 compressors that are on. Now, a couple of these we've had before. We had the SP compressor, so very popular compressor. And we also had a sneak peek at the Andy Timmons signature model from Carpe, which is awesome. Today, we also have the Photo-Optical compressor. So this is a Effectrode tube compressor.
Ooh.
Okay. So this is the one that David G's been
Hang on. I've noticed. You might have noticed we've made a few changes to the Room of Doom. And one of the changes is we've got these lights I found on eBay. Let's see what happens.
Oh, lovely.
See how warm it is now? And actually it is warm because they're like burning the back of my neck off. They're probably illegal. And various other safety things notwithstanding. Anyway, it looks a bit warmer, you know.
It's lovely.
Yeah, and we've got the flying pedal show. There is a sign coming. But, you know, we have to
Until then.
Yeah, we have to
I like that.
Yeah.
Actually, we'll vote and see if you think they should stay on.
I'd actually like to make them into birds with wings.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
This will probably only be relevant if you've ever watched Coronation Street, but...
My nan had them in Australia.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, she did.
All the way in Australia?
Yeah, the flying ducks.
What if they had them in America as well?
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so...
Sorry.
Sorry.
So the Carpe, the Photo-Optical tube compressor, the PC2A from Effectrode. We have these two here from Origin Effects. Now, Origin Effects bought out the Cali 76 and the slide rig. They had the big versions of these.
Yeah.
And they've now done the compact versions, which I've been dying to get my hands on because I love the sound of the big units. And these are fantastic. And also the Compressor Pro by Keeley. So, met up with Robert in NAMM. I mean, I see him every year. He's a great guy and I've known him for years. And yes, managed to grab one of these. They're really fantastic.
Back to the slide rig just for a second. Weren't we hanging out with somebody this week, Daniel?
We
Who was that? Right.
So, right.
Name drop horn at the ready.
Okay. We were hanging out with a wonderful, spectacular musician by the name of Joey Landreth. Very good.
Actually, that wasn't.
That was a half-assed.
That was a part worthy of somebody far less.
So, Joey Landreth, there you go. I can say, hands on heart, that's one of the best gigs I've ever been to.
Yeah, me too. I went to see him 2 nights on a trot. I interviewed Joey for Guitarist Magazine. So if you haven't checked out the Brothers Landreth, please do now because they're just, if you like, you know, kind of rocky, soul-y, bluesy, all those things that we
Americana
like.
type stuff.
Harmonies.
Oh no, don't.
Harmony.
Wrong. Just beautiful. But
Anyway.
his guitar playing, I mean, at times it was otherworldly. It really was. It was transportative. It was incredible. So inspiring and humbling.
Anyway, he's an
wonderful.
awesome slide guitar player who doesn't really use compression. No. So the guys from Origin Effects went along and let him try out the slide rig for the first time. He struggled with it for the first couple of songs because it was kind of completely out of his comfort zone.
Yeah.
But then by the end of the gig, he'd really dialed it in, and you could hear that he dialed it in, and you could hear that he was. Anyway, we'll come on to that.
He's loving it. He's loving it. They do another version of this, which is the deluxe version that has the mix control.
Yeah.
So this one here is basically a smaller version of the large one. That it's a 1176 compressor. So okay.
Famous studio compressor.
Famous studio compressor, the 1176, and back in the Little Feat days, Loud George. He used 2 of these.
Oh, okay.
One into each other.
I didn't know that.
So the slide rig is basically, you have the input and the output, and then you have the single side, and then you can blend in the second 1176.
Oh wow!
Very, very cool.
Nice.
So that was a big part of his sound.
Yeah.
Which is why I thought Joey might really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously, you know,
He has heard of
he
Loud
has,
George,
yes,
so I've heard.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and then we get to the Cali 76. Which
Actually,
is,
just sorry to interrupt you.
No, please.
Just to save a million comments,
Interrupt away.
Joey is not related to Sonny Landreth.
No.
So Joey Landreth is not related to Sonny Landreth, just to save a million questions in the thing.
Yeah. Just a freaky coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They might be distantly related, but you know.
Good.
Moving on.
Okay. So then we have the Cali 76, which is basically, it's the single-sided 1176, but you have the standard, you know, attack release ratio, but it also has this dry control, the blend control, so you can blend your original signal in as well. Love that. Yeah. So let's have a listen. I mean, we've got it. I think the first thing we have to do is hear the slide rig.
Okay.
Right. So.
Right. So, talk about setting yourself up for a fall. Derek Trucks SG, super reverb. I do not play slide. I've tried, like everyone else tried to play. So I'm going to play some. I'm going to try and play.
You didn't even have to mention that. You could have just let that slide. And everyone's going, let that slide.
Yeah. No. So we'll just try and keep it as simple as possible, so you get an idea. And if we had a decent slide guitar player around, we would be using them. But anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So
enough excuses.
This is just the guitar.
Okay.
Straight into. Today we're using the super reverb and the little 18-watt Marshall Mallard clone. You should be ready to rock. Okay, now if we throw on the slide rig, which is I believe this one here. For a compressor, there's a lot of top end in there. A lot of compressors struggle with the top end in there. But not only is there top end in there, there's a lot of bottom end. It's really, really cool. That's what basically the 1176 is a FET compressor.
Right. Okay.
And then
FET
field effect transistor. Right. Well done. Look at you. Hey? Top of the class.
I'm pleased.
And it just has a certain sound that is very musical.
Yeah, if you ever play about with compression in your computer recording software and you go to the compressor plugin, it will usually have one that says something like Opto, one that says something like FET, and I guess that's what you're talking about. Yeah?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What I like about this one is it keeps it really simple. Here we have all the all the attack release, all like a lot of the others do, but for slide players. If we just hear the slide rig again, we can go from the single side of it. Now blend it into the other side. Now, if you put that into an overdrive, I'll turn the, I'll go back to a bypass sound, I'll add a king of tone.
I will just say,
Say away.
obviously being a novice slide guitar player, it becomes instantly 10 times harder without the compressor.
Yes.
So when you just switched on the thing there, it's like, oh my goodness me.
Okay, now we'll hear the overdrive. So it works really well with overdrive pedals as well. Yeah, Really like it.
It starts to get, I wouldn't say easy, but it starts to get kind of
Fun.
You get slightly more confident with the overdrive and the thing there. Just
Yeah.
honestly, all that, you know, if you don't play much slide,
Mm-hmm.
and apologies to those of you who do, but if you don't play much slide, it's so alien. And actually having that compression on the front of the note just gives you a bit more confidence into it.
Oh, it's all warm. Gross. Okay, so I don't play slide at all. And then with the compressor on. Right. So you hear the top end is still. That's great.
Now put the overdrive on.
Okay, just on its Todd. Right, that's the overdrive, and now the overdrive with the compressor.
So the moral of that story is if you're thinking about playing a bit of slide and it's something that interests you, and it obviously if you're an experienced slide player you'll know most of this already, but if you're thinking about playing a bit of slide, compressor,
Getting the right compressor
yeah.
can make a whole heap of difference. See, it went from being completely uninspiring, and I'm just thinking about, okay, well, what note's going to hit? But as soon as that compressor came on, it was like, this is a sound I instantly recognise, and I can just have a bit of fun with it.
And is the compressor running into the overdrive or the overdrive running into the compressor?
The compressor was running into the overdrive.
So the overdrive's after?
The overdrive was after the compressor.
Yeah, yeah. Because we've said before about compressors that sometimes, certainly for kind of rock sounds and if you want a less obvious compression effect, it can do well to run your compressor after the overdrive.
Yep.
But in this case, we're the more, what would you say, standard, the classic way around of doing it.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so let's have a look at the SP compressor. Loads of people using this. So this is one of the compact series from Xotic, and there are instead of having a compression knob, you simply have 3 levels of compression: low, medium, and high. What you do then is you blend in your dry signal. Okay, so if I go from, here's my clean sound. Then with the compressor. So with the, if I...
You keep going, mate. Our decals. You keep going.
So the blend all the way to the left is simply all guitar.
If you keep buying t-shirts, we can afford to have a proper sign made.
So that's all guitar there. Then we blend it to the left. It's all the compressor.
Do you know how it does the compression? How it achieves it?
I think it's just
It's not optical.
no, it's not optical.
No. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's transistors and discrete circuitry. That's a sound, especially with it. That, you know, we sort of recognise it's a little bit Dynacomp-ish, you know, but very squishy.
I think you need to hand me that guitar down.
What? This guitar?
This is something that Gretsch sent us that we've got to send back, by the way. But anyway, in the meantime, I've got to just retrieve something from my bag here.
Which I have to do. You got it? Ah, here we go. Here we go. Down there for dancing. All right, so there's just
Bit of compression.
You should be on.
Should be on.
That's that one. All right, now we go to here.
God, I'm more used to using this on an acoustic. Might have to revert to the thumb.
Very nice.
Sorry, I keep...
So that's the Carl Martin. The great thing about the Carl Martin, you've got two sides to the compressor. So you can set one up as your standard compression.
Yeah.
And then you can set the other one up as basically a boost. So if you play that one. Beautiful. Okay, so
What a tremendous sounding guitar.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's
sorry,
it's
I'll turn
astonishing.
the vibrato off. We're all full of joy for this super reverb as well.
It's sounding glorious.
Sort of acquired it yesterday, and we're like, woo, a super reverb. So, excuse us while we're excited about
Yes,
that.
very good. Okay, so yeah, so the Carl Martin,
Yep.
it's fantastic. The Carl Martin compressor that a lot of people know was the one that looked like this, but it was the mains powered version.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Before AT.
before Andy Timmons walked in and waved his magic wand and made just special things happen, and so they've come up with this, and it's fantastic. It's such a great sounding compressor. I really like it. So
we're kind of jumping around all over the place. Would you use this for slide as well?
sure.
It does a similar sort of thing in terms of the attack and
It
release
does,
times.
yeah,
and-
definitely. The slide rig and the Cali 76, they have a certain colour to
Yeah,
them.
because they're derived of that 1176.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
But the Carl Martin has its own thing going as well. It's very much. I really like the Carl Martin for the. If you like a Steely Dan type. You can get really squishy with this, like really super squishy, but the top end is still all there. It's awesome.
Yeah.
compress that even more.
Because we're dealing with some fairly, even though a compressor's there to make the loud bits quieter and the quieter bits louder, essentially, when you're dealing with boost, we're dealing with quite a wide dynamic range here, aren't we, clean-wise?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I keep looking down, it's because I'm looking at the level meters.
There's a lot of compression there, but it sounds just fantastic. Yeah, so I really like this one. A little remote switch on the side as well, so you can switch between the sides remotely. Very cool. Okay.
Can you have them both on at the same time?
No, it's simply the controls are simply accessing the same part of the circuit. Yeah. It's just different controls for them.
Yeah.
So the PC2A. This is a really great compressor for the subtle type of compression. It's very we can, if you put on an overdrive pedal with this as well.
Is that before the overdrive as well?
Yes.
Okay, what I noticed was, when we were speaking about compressor before or after overdrive before, when we turn the compressor on and off there, the compression in the front, as the front of the note happens, it cleaned everything up.
Yep.
Because the compressor was compressing off your pick attack, dropping the level down, which dropped the level down into the overdrive, which means the overdrive wasn't driving as much. Let's just hear that again, because that's really blooming interesting. Okay. So if you just play.
Very different sounding compressors to the rest of them, but it's really great. It has a little switch on the back that you can turn it limits a bit harder, but because this uses a valve, an actual little valve inside, so
to do the compression, not just to process the audio.
No, it's very cool.
Go on, let's listen to it with this then.
The overdrive.
Yeah, much much easier under the fingers.
Yeah.
Like miles, even like for playing non-slide.
Sure.
Really, really lovely kind of buttery. Yeah, nice.
Mm-hmm. So we've done the slide rig. Now we have a look at the Cali 76. So again, based around the 1176 compressor. So we have this dry control on here. So all the way to the right is just the guitar. And then all the way to the left is just the compressor. So if I put it in the middle. Throw on the overdrive.
Yes, please. What a sound!
It does sound really special.
That's a brilliant sound.
Yeah, it's really great. Okay, and
So
then,
sorry, that was the Cali 76.
That's the Cali 76 Deluxe. So we've got with the dry control.
Right. Okay. Yep.
It's a really great idea being able to mix in the dry signal from the guitar with the compression. It works really well because it just saves that you still get the attack, the front end of the attack of the note, but the long sustain. You know, because what you're not losing is that front end pick attack. But a lot of the country guys, they want that squash.
Yeah.
You know, the squash can be really great, but being able to dial in that amount.
You can sort of ease yourself in gently. Maybe.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So now the Compressor Pro from Keeley. I love this thing. It's really great. So it has again all the controls of the studio, the threshold ratio, attack, release, you know, output gain that we've been through before. But in this tiny little package, and it does sound really rather lush. That's really, really. It sounds, I think, very special, and you can get, especially, you know, for the guys who've got not necessarily engineering experience, but guys who know how to coax sounds out of compressors. It's really great.
Actually, that's a really good point because there are those of us who just want more, less.
Yep, that's right.
And anything more than that is a bit of a brain fry, and you spend the whole session, gig, bedroom, afternoon, whatever it is you're doing, worrying about it.
Yeah.
Whereas I guess if you're a little bit more confident and you understand the compression settings, you can get in and tweak to your heart's content.
Yep, and the idea is you just play around with it till you find things that you like. That's the way you learn. But it's I really like it. Again, the top end that it retains is, and that's really compressed.
Maybe turn it on and off just to show how much it's compressing.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Explain to me about the lights. So the line of LEDs is obviously how much it's compressing.
Yeah, as soon
and then the green one, what's that? An input?
Okay, so we have so the green one here is the threshold. So as soon as it hits the threshold, you see it hits the red. So. And that means it's compressing. And the little compression lights says that, like the dB ratio of how much it's compressing. nice.
It's good.
Really, really great. And then you've got a soft knee and a hard knee. The auto.
Come on.
Anyway,
I've never fully understood the soft hard knee thing.
What's your knee?
Yeah. Come on.
Okay, what happens is you've got a threshold above which it starts to compress.
Right.
Right? So the knee is if you imagine the angle as how much it's compressing, whether it comes in really hard or soft.
Understand.
Yeah, and then you've got the ratio. So let's say you have a 2-to-1 ratio, okay? The 2-to-1 ratio means that that it's anything above that threshold is going to compress by half. Yeah, and if it's got a hard knee, it will go into that really, quickly. The soft knee will sort of ease into it. Yeah. It's just a different character.
Yeah. I mean, to bring it back to guitar playing, when you start your gig and it's the first song and like everyone's looking at you like, why did they book this band? In that hall, that really echoey...
I've never had that experience.
In that really echoey hall, and, the kids are dancing around in front of your pedal board looking at all the lights.
It's
and
Back to the Future.
The old grannies are sat in the first row doing that.
Sorry, boys, you're just too damn loud.
Yeah. For that song, I'm on soft knee. And then by the end of the night, when everyone's woken up and had 9 pints of cider, the kids have gone to bed and granny's like, yeah, on the dance floor, I'm on hard knee by that point.
Good man.
Because then it's louder and it's kind of, you're not losing all that attack in the first. Or it didn't sound like it. When it was on... Oh, no, other way around.
Other way around.
Yeah.
The reality is...
Other way around, sorry.
Yeah.
Hard knee for kids dancing around your pedal board. Soft hard knee for kids dancing around a pedal board. And soft knee for 9 pints of cider grannies at the end of the night. Yeah, there we go.
Sure. The reality is you'll feel it more than hear it. Yeah, it just gives you... It's just a different character. They all have their own little knee personalities and traits and things like that. The way that they compress as soon as they hit the ratio. Yeah. The way they compress as soon as they hit the threshold.
Yeah.
And that just gives you an option between two.
Mm.
But hopefully, there's some really fantastic compressors there. We've managed to get 6 of them on a very, compact little board. You don't have to have these massive, crazy compressors now to have studio quality compression on your pedal board. I think it's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, it's. I think probably the biggest question that people have about a compressor is, what am I going to use it for?
Sure.
And once you answer that question, it becomes completely obvious, because if I was like, a compressor, don't really know what that does. Do I need it? And then once you start using it, you're like, okay.
I've always explained it as it's like the overdrive pedal for my clean sound. So that if you can imagine when you keep that overdrive pedal on and everything's more even and smooth but fuzzy, well, it does the even and smooth thing without going fuzzy. Yeah. So especially for cleanish type tones, it's fantastic. But if you're using a compression with overdrive, it can be amazing. It's give you solo tones, give you those long sustained tones out of guitars that don't necessarily sustain all that great. If you're like funk players, if I'm just just little triads, but with the compressor on. So, what's happening there is all the notes, the triads, are coming out at the same level. Yeah?
Sorry, you just keep saying little triads, and I've got a vision in my head.
So, There you go.
We're going to get done. Okay, awesome. All right. So, if you're a slide player, 100% get a compressor.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you don't already have one, of course. We know that they're used in funk and country for that dynamic, clean sound. So those are the kind of obvious places you might want to consider a compressor. But rock guitar,
absolutely,
they're in there, aren't they?
Absolutely.
And blues. Blimey, we haven't even spoken about blues. So if you want the feel of a kind of a very dynamic compressing tube amp at a lower level, you know, chuck a compressor on there.
Yeah. Using see, this is a good situation. Using a compressor after an overdrive pedal into a clean amplifier, you can replicate the power section of a working amplifier into a clean amp. That can work really well.
Can we do that?
Sure.
Let's do it. Let's do it as our final thing. I'll play your in fact, no. Let's play the Strat.
Let's play the
Let's
call.
play the Strat.
And now with the overdrive going into the compressor. Now, what we can do, if I turn that down, it's a really good way to get a bedroom level, you know.
Yeah, that's interesting because that's really quiet. In fact, it's so quiet we could probably do this. Keep talking. That's how loud it is in the room.
Yeah. Because it is, you know, the amplifier, the way the amplifier compresses is so much a part of the magic when you crank it. So using a compressor like that to replicate the way it's a great way to get a...
How do I get a good sound at home? How do I, stick a compressor on it.
Yep.
Sorry, bridge with it. There's none of the feel you get from a bigger, so it's not like punching you in the chest.
No,
and all
because
the rest of it.
a lot of that feel, you know, turn anything up and it sounds better.
Yeah, the air isn't moving.
Isn't moving, and you're not getting that feedback.
The
through the guitar.
Yeah.
But
the sponginess
and the
is sound.
there. That's right.
Interesting.
Yeah. There you go. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that little stroll through some really lovely compressors. I thought.
A little. It wasn't so much a stroll as a kind of dart here, there, and everywhere around the world of compressors. Was it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Go on then. You got to take one. Which one will you take?
Ooh. Dude, it's really, really hard. These two.
Right.
I'll take these two. Only because I'm not a slide player and I can probably, because this is the 1176 thing, it's wicked and I can sort of get that sound if I had to. But I love the sound of this as well. I think that sounds great. I would have, these two. That's not an answer, is it? Just ask me for one. I can't give you one.
No, that's okay.
All right.
It's okay. I'd go slide rig.
Slide rig.
Because it's got the almost the least amount of knobs.
Yeah, and it sounds great. You can just dial it in and go, yeah, there it is. Boom, done. Love that. Very cool.
Awesome.
Great. Cheers, guys. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.